5 shows at Wario's is undoubtedly one of the best Five Nights at Freddy's fan games out there. This game has so much freaking content in it. Once the director's cut DLC came out, it added even more content as if it didn't already have enough. One of the new things that it added was achievements. And oh boy, there are a lot of them with heavily ranging difficulty. They all also have awards for achieving them. So let's rank them from easiest to hardest, shall we? But I think I should make something very clear. They will only, and I mean only, be ranked off of their actual difficulty itself, and required progression to get them won't be counted. For example, Face Your Fears won't be put higher because you have to unlock the endgame quests just to achieve it. Or as another example, God Is Pleased won't be ranked higher just because you have to unlock all the characters. Rather, it will be ranked off of how difficult it is to actually beat Colosseum of the First as every character. Am I making sense here? Hopefully I am. Okay, now let's actually begin. Warming up is such a dumb achievement, and I don't see how on earth you could even somewhat struggle a single bit getting this achievement. Heck, I bet you're most likely never going to even have to think about getting it. Why, you may ask? Because you most likely are just going to get this achievement naturally. Leveling up at a super low level is very fast, so only having to do this 5 times is nothing. Why am I spending so long on an achievement that you're literally just going to get naturally? Let's just move on before I become insane talking about it. This is quite literally the exact same thing. Let's just move on. Okay, now this is just getting obnoxious. So you know what? I'm not going to bore you to death, and I'm just going to shove all of the level achievements into this one spot. Now here you actually have to play some of the game to actually get these. But you are still going to just get them from naturally playing. You do have to do a tiny bit of grinding for Morning Sun, but that doesn't make a difference big enough to give it its own entry. These are all just nothing achievements. Now we can finally move on to something new. So let's do it. In order to get this achievement, you basically need to get killed by everyone in the game. There are 2 ways to get this achievement. One, you go back through the game trying to find every character to have them kill you. Or, you get it by accident because you have a major skill issue and you suck at video games. But in all seriousness though, this achievement would have been put higher as you need to unlock the endgame quest to get it. But we don't rank the required progress to get the achievements as stated in the beginning. So yeah, it's a very easy achievement to get otherwise, both accidentally or intentionally. Ultimate Power is honestly stupidly easy. I can literally finish playing with power with over 400 power if I try hard enough. And that is not counting the bonus power at the start. So only having to finish with 100 is stupidly easy. You can build up power really fast by playing Platformer Man and then playing Bounce Bam for the rest of the time. You don't even have to do this on a certain difficulty, meaning you could just play normal and make your job even easier. I would change this achievement so you have to finish with 200 power on Insanity or Hell difficulty to get this. But yeah, this is a very easy achievement. To get this achievement, you must enter the black door in the entrance room from the exit. Once you're in there, you'll find a note written from Thomas Taylor saying how he got trapped in Grey City after he found the book in the cellar of Wario's fast food factory at the end of Five Nights at Wario's 2. After that, you just get the achievement. This would have literally been the easiest achievement in the entire game if it wasn't for one thing. And no, it's not having to unlock custom game, because we don't count progression for the 7th billionth time. The main thing that puts this up a little is just finding out how the heck you get through the black door. You see, in order to get through you must go to custom game and select the exit for any day. But everyone with a brain will just pick day 1 obviously. But anyway, you must set virus Luigi to 0 and only then can you go through that door. It's just because of that reason this isn't at the very bottom of the list. This achievement may be easy but it does give off some amazing lore though. Now let's move on. Okay, now this is a very easy one. In order to get this achievement you must beat any day of final days with no power. Custom night won't work for this achievement though, so don't waste your time with that. So all you really have to do is play day 1 and purposefully run out of power at late 5 PM. There isn't really a way you can struggle with this one. You could also just accidentally get this achievement too. The only reason this achievement isn't even lower is because it requires a little bit of timing, but that's really it. Okay, next. In order to get this achievement you must stop Virus Mario in the cameras 10 times to achieve it. You're most likely just going to get it by accident while playing day 5 or 6 though. Because of that you'll never really have to struggle getting it if you just encounter it by accident. But at least unlike the level achievements you actually have to put some effort into getting this one. But yeah, very easy. In order to get this achievement you must buy everything in the shop at once. In total you'll need 18 lives to do this, as with all of the prices added up in total, you get 17 lives and you'll still need 1 extra life just to actually stay alive and not have the game prevent you from buying anything else. Getting 18 lives is honestly very easy and it doesn't require much skill at all to do this. Not only that, but you don't even have to beat the final show after. Nope, instead the game gives you the achievement and you're already done. It's a very easy achievement that just takes a little bit of skill to do, but that's it. Stacked Up is pretty similar to Out of Stock, where you need to get a certain amount of lives to achieve it. Now you need 30 lives rather than 18, so it's slightly harder. Once done you'll just automatically get the achievement. This achievement is still really easy just due to how much lives you earn from winning shows, and the streak bonus makes it even easier. So this achievement requires just a little bit more skill than Out of Stock, and so that's why it's placed here. This achievement is actually really hard to rank as it basically completely relies on luck. This could either be one of the easiest or hardest achievements. You only have a limited amount of music boxes, so sometimes you'll just have to take some YOLOs to win. You could have a very short or very fast route depending on your luck here. The characters' spawns and movements are all also just based off of luck too. While yes, you could buy more music boxes, it still may not perfectly work if you have a super long route to take. But this achievement isn't the worst thing in the world though, as Safety Terror is a pretty short game, so yeah. This is a very hard achievement to rank, and I don't blame you if you put this somewhere else on the list. So let's move on, shall we? In order to get this achievement you must simply beat a game of the exit with at least one room of the house breached before finishing. You can very easily get this achievement by pure accident though. But if not, all you have to do is time it so a room will get breached and it will turn 6 just right after. There is another way you can do this, but I'm going to bring that up later. But in conclusion, this achievement isn't that difficult at all, but it could use some timing if you didn't get it by accident. For this one you need to beat the final show with exactly 9 lives left, meaning you will have to do a bit of grinding for lives, but it isn't too much to handle. Once done you must actually play and beat the final show. My strategy is just to simply play everything normally, and once I make it to the boss I will just stand still and purposely get hit until I have 10 lives left. After that I'd either accidentally take another hit or I'd purposely take a hit and I'd finish the job. It still does take a little skill to do this, but I wouldn't consider this hard for say. But hey, you do unlock Waluigi after getting this, so it's worth it. Also this makes Waluigi officially the easiest character you have to manually unlock, so that's cool. Anyway, let's move on. To get this achievement you must beat the theater 3 times. This achievement really helps you practice the theater, and it also helps you prepare for all out mode, assuming you haven't done it already. But when it came to deciding either if Stop Demon W or Sneaky if Mr. Cat is harder, I chose Stop Demon W, as finishing the theater with a certain amount of lives is a little less difficult than beating it 3 times. But hey, once you get this achievement you do unlock Mario. Yes, that Mario. Now let's move on. To achieve this achievement you must beat day 5 of Final Days. Doing this takes a lot of practice, and it also requires very fast reflexes. Not only that, but you need to memorize Virus Mario's locations, and you also have to time when to stop Virus Toad. Keeping track of everything can be a huge challenge, but it still feels very fair. The AI here is extremely fast, so you can't mess up too much here. Though with enough practice this achievement isn't too bad. This achievement is mildly difficult, but it's nothing to rage over. This achievement is basically the exact same as Eternal Void. The only difference is that the AI is just a tad bit faster. But to be completely honest, I can't really tell the difference. But yet it's the exact same thing as Eternal Void, but the AI doesn't hold back. Keep Calm requires you to beat Cooking with Emma on Insanity or Hell difficulty without Emma's patience running low. Doing this takes a lot of focus and practice, as failing just a single ingredient puts your entire run at risk. Not only that, but you can't take your time here. The patience goes down very quickly, meaning going slow will also end your run. But you can buy the chill pill in the shop to make things a lot easier, but it isn't as satisfying to do it that way. This is a somewhat difficult achievement, so I think this is a fair spot. Nightmare Day is hands down the hardest optional challenge for the main 5 modes. In Nightmare Day every single room is unlocked, and because of that there will be a huge jump in difficulty for casual players. Just balancing everything at once is near impossible, especially for characters like Virus Toad, Virus Waluigi, and Virus Luigi. This achievement takes a lot of practice and dedication to pull off, but thankfully there is a workaround. You see, once a room gets breached a kill timer will start. You'd expect that every time a new room gets breached the timer would get faster, right? Well no, not at all. Rather, a separate kill timer will start for that certain character, meaning you'll have multiple very slow kill timers going down. Now you may be wondering how this is even somewhat helpful if the timers are just going to run out. Well, you see, here is the twist. Every time you move it adds a little time to the timer. And if the timers never speed up you'll always be getting an advantage on them. So I recommend you just play normally, and once a room gets breached go back and forth between the kitchen and the entrance, as those rooms are the fastest when it comes to stopping the entities. But you obviously can't do it if the kitchen gets breached, so make sure to prevent that. But in conclusion, this is a very challenging achievement that can very thankfully be somewhat cheesed. The master plan requires you to have beaten all 3 routes of the factory, and not only that but you also must have beaten classic mode of the factory too. Just doing that takes quite some time and skill. But if it was only that, this achievement would have been way lower. But that isn't it. Not only do you have to do that, but you also must have beaten every single official 5 nights at Wario's game that has came out before shows. Meaning you must have beaten night 6 in Wario's 1. All 7 nights in both standard and classic mode of Wario's 2. Both standard mode and daytime quest, along with the good ending from Wario's 3. Both 1988 and 2018 modes from Origins. Both weeks from 4. And to top it off, you must have also beaten the cross-game quest. That's a butt ton of work to do, and it's not like it's an easy job either. Both 2018 mode and daytime quest are very challenging, and they both need a lot of practice to complete. But once all of that is finally done, you will begin the end game quest, which will also give you this achievement. True Gamer requires you to have beaten a huge chunk of the game. To get this one you must have the following: every mode besides end game quest unlocked, quite a few achievements, and a really high player level. Doing this achievement also means you'll have to do some of the optional challenges in the main modes, like all out mode for example. I did struggle picking this or the master plan to be number 6 though. But I came to the conclusion that this achievement is just very slightly harder, just due to you having to do more things for this achievement than the master plan. And that's why it's placed here. While almost all of the level achievements are stupidly easy to get, there is one exception to these. Dedication, unlike the rest, actually requires you to go out of your way to get it. While yes, Morning Sun also requires you to go out of your way to get it, there is a difference. Getting Morning Sun intentionally only takes like 5 minutes. But this on the other hand takes about 2.5 hours to get on average. You need to grind just to get this achievement. I usually grind day 1 of final days to get this achievement, as it pays high and you barely need to pay attention to it. But even still, it's going to take you a couple of hours. At least with the other ones you'll just get them naturally, unlike this one. This is an achievement about patience. If you're like me and you're very impatient, this achievement is absolute torture to get. In conclusion, this achievement is difficult, but in a different way. It isn't difficult as in challenging, rather it's difficult in a patience way. This achievement will vary on multiple of people's lists just depending on how patient they are. But for someone very impatient like me, this one belongs here. For me at least. Also take a shot for every time I say patience. Now this achievement is my biggest example of not including required progress to get an achievement. Here is a fun fact. This achievement was originally going to be number 1 just because what you have to do to unlock it. But then I realized it would be very difficult trying to make an accurate ranking of the achievements with progress in mind. Not only that, but it just made it very unfair to some achievements, so that's why I decided not to include progress. So we are going to ignore unlocking the characters and rather just focus on how difficult it is to actually beat Colosseum of the First with every character. First off, this achievement takes the second longest amount of time to unlock, just being right behind Dedication. But at least I'm having fun getting this achievement, unlike Dedication. But getting back on topic, you need to complete 25 waves of enemies. Some of which are actually from Wario Land 4 on the Game Boy Advance. But you need to kill them all while getting upgrades on your way. It's harder than it sounds though, as healing stations are few and far apart. Getting this achievement requires mastery of the 2D gameplay in this game. Demon Wario's route is especially hard as you take double damage. And to top things off, if you die you have to restart from the beginning. But don't worry, you won't lose your gems for winning as other characters. Keep in mind that this achievement takes around 3 hours to get without breaks, so it will take you a while. This is a very challenging achievement that requires mastery of the 2D gameplay. Loss of Hope requires you to play the memory arcade and then you'll get the achievement in all of its glory. There is only one problem. You see, you can't turn on the arcade machine until you find the 6 gems. In order to get these said gems you must beat these 6 modes. The theater standard mode, all out mode, reverse all out mode, the exit, nightmare day, and final days. Now that's a lot of work. Now you may be wondering why this is so high on the list. While yeah, it's still a bit difficult. The last few things are way harder. But then remember how difficult nightmare day was. Now also add the pain that is reverse all out mode. Now also add a bunch of other less difficult things too. This is just a hellish marathon through some of the game's hardest challenges. And because of that this achievement earned its spot here. As the runner-up for first we have Who Are You? Getting this achievement requires you to beat the final step of the endgame quest. I consider this achievement to start once you begin the endgame quest, so let's begin there. Endgame quest is pretty easy, to be completely honest. While yes, getting it set up is a little challenging, the rest is pretty easy. The only hard part after that is the final showdown with Entity 01, but that is still pretty easy once you get the hang of it. But then when you try to begin the final step the game won't let you play it and it won't tell you why. After that you have to figure out what to do yourself. But lucky old you will have me explain it for you. In order to unlock the final step you must fully complete every single official 5 Nights at Wario's game that came out before shows to maximum completion. Meaning you must get all of the achievements in 1. Beat all of the custom night challenges along with the max modes for both modes in 2. Unlock all of the daytime quest skins in 3. Get all 3 ribbons in Origins. And unlock all of the remote skins in 4. The ribbons, daytime quest skins, and remote skins all serve as mini achievements and you need to beat all of those games max modes to get some of them. This achievement is absolute torture, but if you have the required patience, skill, and dedication for this achievement then you should be able to get it and then you'll feel like an absolute god. Okay, let's all be honest here. We all knew this was number 1 from the very start. Untouchable is one of the most painful things I have ever done in any video game ever. It's so challenging to the point where getting 100% in every 5 Nights at Wario's game is easier. This achievement requires you to complete the entire final show with only 3 hit points. So I think it's only logical that I explain the threats here so we know just what we are dealing with here. There are falling spikes from the sky, normal spikes, basic enemies, a spike machine, meteors, fireballs, and big fireballs from the sky. All of these threats will all take 1 of your HP upon contact. There is a boss battle at the end which is also a little tough. That battle mostly revolves around memorizing attacks and making quick decisions. It's definitely not as hard as the platforming segments, but it's still a massive threat. You'll need to just take a lot of blind jumps and YOLOs here. But you see, this achievement isn't even all skill though. This achievement is also extremely luck based. While yes, the majority of this game is very well balanced and skill based, this achievement just isn't. Now I bet a lot of people are going to the comments and are just going to say things like skill issue or get good and such. But just let me explain. The spike machine is constantly spitting out spikes with no cooldown whatsoever and it can shoot in 3 directions. Left, right, and up. There is no way to tell where they are going to shoot and you'll have to avoid around 3. The area you get is very tight so you can't really move around, especially due to this being a long jump. Not only that, but falling spikes from the sky are constantly falling and you're on a very small platform so you can't move much. If you walk off, you'll get hit. If you jump, you'll probably get hit by an off-screen spike without warning. Due to this you'll be forced to jump over the spike machine and get a very cheap hit. Here's another example. On a certain part fireballs will start spawning from the ground. They spawn very constantly and I feel like they have spawn triggers. And you see, sometimes you'll be forced to move back to dodge them as there is another one above it. So when you move back you'll hit the trigger spawning another fireball. But that one needs you to move forward, but there is still one behind you. So then you take another cheap hit. Keep in mind that the height of the fireballs are completely random and the triggers are very close to each other. Other unfair things can happen, like getting cornered in survive or having a spike spawn in a way where you can't avoid it because you are on a very small platform with spikes both under and above you. But the most annoying part is when the game forces you to go to the top of the screen to progress just to get hit by a BS off-screen spike that conveniently spawned on top of you. And keep in mind, during this entire thing you can only get hit 3 times. I can go on and 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 on, but this segment will be way too long. As if it isn't already. This achievement is absolute torture. It's stupidly difficult and extremely luck-based. This entire game is very skill-based, but this achievement is the exact opposite. I'd have better chances winning the lottery than beating this absolute hot garbage of an achievement. Screw this achievement. Screw the final show. And screw RNG, for the love of God. This is probably the worst thing to come out of this entire series, and I really don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm literally getting mad just talking about this dumpster fire of an achievement. Case closed, goodbye. Well, that was surely something. I want to say thank you to Wario 851 Studios for making this video's thumbnail along with a couple of other thumbnails. So be sure to go support him as he deserves it. Thanks for watching everyone, and I may see you next month if I feel like it. Goodbye.